Hello, my name is Sandra Ware, and I'm an attorney and a contributor for Bitcoin Magazine. Welcome to our discussion of Bitcoin for Boomers, self-custody, why and how to self-custody your Bitcoin. Let's get started. So let's talk about self-custody and Bitcoin. So when you take possession of your Bitcoin instead of a third party, such as like an exchange like Coinbase or KuCoin, or a bank, when you take possession of it, that is self-custody. You're being your own bank. By taking charge of your Bitcoin and moving it to a hard wallet, which we'll talk about next, only you have possession of that. So not only is Bitcoin critical to your self-sovereignty, it also creates financial inclusion for people that are unbanked or otherwise unable to have actual bank accounts. That way everybody can benefit from Bitcoin, and only the owner can control and spend it. Let's talk about why self-custody. Trust in the United States government is at an all-time low. If you look at the chart on the left, you'll see that trust in government has gone all the way from almost 80% all the way down to a little over 20% under President Trump. The dollar itself has also lost significant value since 1913. If you look at the chart on the right, you'll see that there are several significant events that happened in the 1900s alone. And this is putting aside the COVID pandemic, which we just got through in 2020. So you'll see 1913, 33, 44, 71. In 1971, Nixon took us off the gold standard, which made the dollar drop even more. And also, again, with the COVID pandemic, 2020 reduced the value of the dollar dramatically because the Federal Reserve System printed more than 35% of the dollars ever printed in 2020 alone. The dollars printed dramatically exceeded the number produced in previous years. So, and I'm sure looking back, perhaps you felt the bite of the inflation that resulted as a result of that, and also the supply side issues. But those are good reasons to self-custody our Bitcoin, with confidence in our government going a little bit lower over time, and confidence in the United States dollar dropping over time. It's better to self-custody your Bitcoin so you don't have to worry about governments or other actors taking your Bitcoin from you. To add to that, customer trust in banks is also very low. A poll done by the financial brand found that the percentage of customers who distrust their banks were quite high. For example, for Bank of America, distrust was around 67%, HSBC 84%. Also, women over 40 are increasingly taking over key retirement and pension decision-making in the home, yet they are not getting their banking needs met. So increasingly, you're finding people who are looking for new alternatives and solutions to get their needs met that are not met in the banking industry. In addition, there are even more reasons for self-custody. For example, many people buy Bitcoin or sats from cryptocurrency exchanges, yet crypto entities operate in a regulatory gray area. And so Bitcoiners, we go by the saying, not your keys, not your coins. So in other words, you want to self-custody so that you do have your keys and therefore you do have your coins. So let's take a look at the most recent events that have come up with the cryptocurrency industry. And that is that, for example, former crypto giants Three Arrows Capital, Voyager Digital, and the Celsius Network all went bankrupt, leaving customers in limbo. We're hoping that that gets sorted out. We'll have to see. It's in the federal bankruptcy system. Unlike banks, exchanges may have used client funds to gamble in the cryptocurrency market. And these exchanges, they are not FDIC insured. So one of the major differences between banks in the regulatory system and cryptocurrency exchanges are that the latter are not insured by the FDIC. So that's a major problem if your exchange goes under and if you think that you're under the impression, oh, don't worry about it, the FDIC insures it. They do not. So beware of that. That's a great reason to, again, self-custody your Bitcoin. And also, things like crypto market crashes, exploits, and hacks can also cause losses to occur. So it's very critical, again, that not only do you have your Bitcoin off the exchange, but that you securely and properly self-custody that. So self-custody of Bitcoin on a hard wallet is a must because you can lose everything on an exchange. It's not something that happens every day to a ton of people, but it does happen, and we want to make sure that does not happen to you. Now that we know why moving your Bitcoin off an exchange is important, let's transfer Bitcoin to a hard wallet. It's not as overwhelming as it sounds. Believe me, I've been in your shoes if you've never done this before, and it's a little scary, but if you take it one step at a time and just, you be very careful and slow, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. It's not that bad. So here is, I have this is a Ledger. It's a Ledger Nano S. So I have this, and it's just like a USB. So let's take a look at this real quick. So, here's your, average sized, there we go. This is my Ledger. So this is the Nano S, and it's about, folded all the way out. It's like 5 inches long, but, you can just fold it back in and carry it. But this is where I would be carrying my Bitcoin. And also, Ledger will send you, in addition to this, they'll send you a USB cord, which you will be using. So let's transfer Bitcoin into a hard wallet. Now, there's many other brands out there. I just happen to choose Ledger. You can choose whatever you want. Just make sure it's a reputable brand, and make sure, in my opinion, you should buy your hard wallet directly from the builder or manufacturer itself, as opposed to a third party, because when you buy from a third party, you run the risk of somebody compromising, the third party compromising, the ledger. So just make sure that you order from the manufacturer and that everything is sealed up and there isn't anything weird or suspicious about it. It's very rare that that happens, but you just want to make sure you're getting it directly from the manufacturer. So a hardware wallet is a high security Bitcoin wallet that lets you store your Bitcoin offline. So you're, again, not your keys, not your coins. So the reason that a hardware wallet is so important is that it will not only give you the keys, but it's also obviously going to keep your coins off the exchanges. So Now, they do not connect to the internet by themselves. So this will not by itself connect to the internet. You have to use the USB cord and plug it into your computer. And so the user does that. It's totally up to you. All right, so let's take this step by step. It is not that hard. When I used my Ledger Nano for the first time, I felt a bit overwhelmed. But if you follow the instructions carefully and one step at a time, it's actually not hard to do at all. I was surprised at how easy it actually was. So here you'll see a picture. So if you have, depending on what you choose to get, whether it's there's like a tracer or ledger, whatever it may be, just make sure you read through the directions and follow everything. You don't want to make any mistakes. You want, even though it may get a little tedious, you want to make sure that you're doing it correctly and that you're not missing letters or misspelling things like that. So using your hardware wallet does not have to be overwhelming, and it was not as stressful as I thought it would be. So if I can do it, you can definitely do it. All right, so first you have to set up your hard wallet. I did that by using my laptop computer. Now, if you have a different hard wallet, please use the correct instructions for your product. I'm talking about a Ledger product. There are many others out there, Cold Card, there are many others. So make sure that if you're using a different hard wallet, now's the time to use the correct instructions. I'm going to review what I did to put Bitcoin on my Ledger. So what we're going to do is plug the Ledger into the computer with the included USB cord. So if you look at the top left, you'll see that there's a diagram of a Ledger and there's a USB cable. So what you need to do is press both buttons at the same time. At the top, you'll see two buttons. Press both buttons at the same time to access the setup as new device option. So you'll be setting up a new device. Next, let's choose a PIN code. And by let's, I mean you. So you're going to choose a PIN code. And on the right-hand side, you'll see an example of that. But you do that by pressing the buttons again at the top. When the PIN code is displayed on the device, and you'll again look at the top right picture, using that left or right button, pick your PIN number, and then you press both buttons to enter each digit. So let's say I choose 5. I'm going to click over to 5 using one of the buttons, and then I'm going to click both buttons twice to confirm that that is the digit I'm selecting for the first digit of my PIN code. And then you're going to repeat that process for the rest of those numbers, and the device is going to request that you confirm the PIN number by entering it again. So far, so good, right? That's not so bad. All right, so let's talk about the next step, which will be receiving your 24-word recovery phrase. So the next step, it's a little tedious, but it's critically important. You do not mess this up. Now, first of all, it's not that difficult to do, so don't panic. All you're going to do is write down a recovery phrase. And you can choose how long the recovery phrase is. It can be 12, some of them will have 18, 24. You really want to go with that 24-word recovery phrase because it makes it incredibly unlikely that anyone's ever going to figure out a 24-word recovery phrase, get in there and get your Bitcoin. That's just never going to happen. But in any event, so choose the 24-word recovery phrase. So my Ledger Nano S hard wallet came with a card. So you'll see that on the right-hand side there for writing these words down. So keep in mind the 24-word recovery phrase is the only backup for your private keys. If you lose your hardware wallet, you will need your entire 24-word recovery phrase to access your Bitcoin. Do not lose your recovery phrase. So yes, you can lose your hardware wallet, so you can lose your ledger, but you cannot lose that 24-word recovery phrase. You need that to be able to access through, so what you would do is you would buy another hardware wallet, and then you could access your Bitcoin using the recovery phrase from the first one that you lost. And we're able to do that because, again, your Bitcoin is on the Bitcoin blockchain. The only thing that the ledger actually carries are keys that enable the device to access the blockchain. But again, without that 24-word recovery phrase, you can't access your keys on your hard wallet. All right, so now we're going to write down each word carefully, correctly, and in order. So, for example, word number 2 is broken. Word number 2 is broken. Do not put word number 2 wherever the heck you feel like it. It needs to go right where it says number 2. So for number 2, what do we put? Say it, broken. All right, so so you will repeat that process for each and every slot 24 times. Make sure it's spelled correctly again, and make sure that each one is entered in the correct spot. So you're going to write down each one, then you're going to press the right button on the Ledger hard wallet until you get to that 24th word. Confirm your recovery phrase by pressing both buttons, and then after seeing your device is now ready, you can exit to the dashboard by pressing both buttons again. All right, woohoo! Good job. Okay, so we're not done yet. We still have a few more things to do, but we're making progress. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to install a program called Ledger Live on our laptop or mobile phone, and then we're going to install a Bitcoin app as well. So from the Ledger Live desktop, we will install the Bitcoin app to manage the Ledger device Bitcoin account. So we're going to connect and unlock the Ledger device. Pressing both buttons on the device will let My Ledger on your device. So My Ledger is a Ledger Live program. My Ledger is going to show your device on the Ledger Live desktop. So if you look at the top left-hand side here, it says App Catalog, and then you'll see like an orange icon with Bitcoin on it. That's the app that gets installed on your Ledger, and then that way you can see what's on your Ledger hard wallet on your computer. But we need to go a little further than just putting the Ledger Live program on our laptop. We need to get that Bitcoin app installed so that we can receive Bitcoin. So we're going to click that install button for the Bitcoin app. And were you to do that, the device is going to display processing, and then it's going to complete the installation on your device. And again, keep in mind it's going to be different for other devices. We are almost there. Just a reminder that I am using a Ledger Nano S, and the directions for using a different hard wallet may vary. So you will want to follow the instructions for your hardware wallet. But it's okay to follow along with what we're doing here. You'll learn a lot as well. So to recap, Ledger Live on your computer should be ready to use, and the Bitcoin app should be installed on your Ledger device. Log into the exchange that you used to buy your Bitcoin. Right, so at this point, in other words, you would have either bought your Bitcoin. Generally, most people buy Bitcoin retail consumers buy them off exchanges like Coinbase. However, there are other ways to do that. We're not really going to cover that. I'm going to assume that like a lot of new people like myself back then, well, 2020, right? For me anyway. So I'm going to assume that you either bought your Bitcoin and it's on an exchange, or it is on a like a software wallet, like a Coinbase wallet, or some other MetaMask, maybe whatever software wallet you picked up. That's basically, it's on your phone as opposed to like a hardware wallet. Bink, like that. All right, so moving along. So first things first. So if your Bitcoin is on an exchange, wherever it may be, log on to that, and because we're going to now move it off the exchange. And again, the reason that we really want to move that Bitcoin off the exchange or wherever you're getting it onto a hardware wallet is because, again, not your keys, not your coins. And I know that if you're new to Bitcoin, that's kind of interesting to think about, but you really want to make sure that you do that, because Bitcoin is very valuable, and you don't want the exchange. And again, exchanges aren't very well regulated yet compared to securities, although most cryptocurrencies, let's face it, they are securities. But in any event, Bitcoin is not. And we just want to make sure that since we don't have the same protections on the exchanges that we do in banks, we just want to make sure we get our Bitcoin onto that hardware wallet. So anyway, we're going to now do that. So again, log in your exchange, click Receive on the menu on the left-hand side of Ledger Live. And you're going to use the drop-down list to choose the account to credit, all right? And then you're going to click Continue on that. All right, so let's continue talking about how to safely send Bitcoin from an exchange to your hardware wallet. If you need to, connect and unlock your hardware wallet, your Ledger device, for example. You're going to open the app and click Continue. Then you're going to read the on-screen instructions and click on Verify to display an address on your device. So if you look at the picture here, you'll see an address with a very long, there's numbers and letters. That is the address that you need to have, because that's the address that will be receiving funds, okay? So again, read the on-screen instructions, then click on Verify to display that address. And this should be the receive address generated by Ledger Live. Now, it looks complicated, but really the only thing this address is doing is saying, hey, this is where I want to receive my Bitcoin from the exchange. You are only going to receive funds on this address if it matches the one displayed on your device. So make sure that it's on your, oh, there we go, sorry, on your device, and the address will disappear once it's confirmed. So you're going to compare both and make sure that they match. And again, so verify that the address on the Ledger device screen is the same as the address shown in Ledger Live on your laptop or your computer. Then you're going to copy that address. So right here, you're going to copy that address to the sender of the transaction. Now, normally the sender is you, but let's say your friend Dan is helping you, okay? Hey, Dan, I'm going to, send this to you. Take a look. You have to make very, very sure that that address is the correct one. You don't want to be one letter or anything off. Don't panic. It's not hard to do. We just want to make sure that it's accurate, so just make sure that it is. So again, send the address to the sender of the transaction, then verify with the sender that the address received matches the one shown on your device. Approve the address on your device if it's the same. Be sure. Now, this is critical, and some people don't do this, but I really recommend that you do. Be sure to send a small amount first. So send a small amount of sats. Sats are small little portions of Bitcoin. So, and you're going to send that, and then make sure that it was received by the recipient at the recipient address. Then after that, then proceed to send larger amounts after you make sure that your recipient got the smaller amount so that you can confirm that you're doing things correctly. After you remove your Bitcoin from an exchange or a software wallet to your hardware wallet, you can safely disconnect your hardware wallet once you've verified the address or approved the transaction. Congratulations, you did it. You transferred your Bitcoin off an exchange to your hard wallet. Good job. That's it, folks. See, it wasn't as bad as you thought. If you have any questions at all, you can find me on Twitter at WARESJ1. See you around. Take care.